Field in Denver in our 9th season. It's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Tonight, Mark McGwire with 43 home runs, and the Cardinals take on league batting leader Dante Bichette and the Colorado Rockies. You're looking at Coors Field, Denver, where tonight ESPN Sunday Night Baseball brings you the National Home Run Watch. Mark McGwire has not homered in the last 5 games. Still at 43. Griffey at 40. Sammy Sosa did homer today at Wrigley Field for 38. Greg Vaughn of the Padres at 37. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, and welcome to Coors Field. Tonight, the Mark McGwire Home Run Watch continues, as we said, and McGwire without a home run since last Monday when he went deep at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. When he did go deep, it was vintage McGwire into the second deck at the old ballpark, and that is quite a shot indeed. But Joe Morgan is here with me. Joe, he's 0 for his last 15 in his longest hitless streak of the year. 7 walks in those 5 games as well as he goes into play here tonight.
Well, I think what you're seeing, John, is the pitchers know that they're going to give up a certain number of home runs a year, but they do not want to be embarrassed by one of these 500-foot Mark McGwire home runs. So all of a sudden, everyone is trying to make perfect pitches, and they're not capable. But you take yesterday's ball game. Watch, this is almost a perfect pitch. Knee high and away, McGwire goes out and gets it, but he can't hit it well enough to get it out of the ballpark. And I think that's what we're starting to see. Plus, when they're making all these pitches, he only gets 1 or 2 pitches a game to swing at, and he probably presses a little bit, and that's why he's in a slump right now.
All right, so McGwire tonight against the Rockies. He has not hit a home run in 5 games at Coors Field. McGwire with 43 going against the Rockies here, the mile-high atmosphere of Denver. Stay with us.
How you doing, Sarge? Okay, folks, what'll it be? What would you like, sweetheart?
A Pepsi, please.
Sorry, we only have Coke. Now you've done it.
You're sorry? Not half as sorry as you're gonna be. I ordered a Pepsi, pal.
She's got a mind of her own.
What's with this guy?
Look, I just thought...
You thought? What you really thought was that I don't know the difference between Pepsi and a Coke, right?
Here's your Pepsi.
Thank you.
Kids say the darndest things.
What are you looking at?
I like this place.
ESPN Sunday. The aerial view of beautiful Coors Field in downtown Denver. Sunday Night Baseball. And Tony La Russa with his ball club on a West Coast swing. They started in San Diego. They moved on to San Francisco. And now the 3rd game here in Denver. And Mark McGwire has hit just 1 home run. That was in the 1st game of the road trip. Of course, La Russa has other things in his mind. They're playing their 104th game. And still not going anywhere. Here's the Pepsi Cardinals batting order. Royce Clayton at short. Brian Jordan in right. Mark McGwire hits 3rd at first base. Ray Langford in center field. And Langford has had 5 home runs himself since the All-Star break. John Mabry, who is a terror here at Coors Field in left field. Gary Gaetti, the veteran, at 3rd. Eli Marrero hitting 7th, the catcher. Kent Mercker, the pitcher, hits 8th. And Pat Kelly, the former Yankee, is hitting 9th at second base. Pitching just off the disabled list today for the Rockies, right-hander John Thompson.
And John, we'll see how effective he'll be. He threw well in his rehab start, but he has a good fastball, slider, and a change. We'll just see how well he throws. But he was pitching very well before he went on the disabled list.
He's got an explosive sinker, I guess you might term it. I mean, that ball almost always moves. Royce Clayton leads it off against him. 234 average. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, he didn't throw a sinker there, though, did he?
That was a riser.
Exactly. Better make it sink.
That is a foul on the first base side. The umpiring alignment assigned by the National League. Sam Holbrook behind the plate. Harry Wendelstadt, the dean of umpires at first base. Jerry Lane at second, and Rich Rieker at third. A ball and a strike to Royce Clayton. The slider misses. Now Griffey today, Joe, set a career record for steals in a game. He got a whole new game now. Everybody talking about all those home runs. He's got the running game going. That's strike 2, 2-2. Mark McGwire, on the other hand, he's still going with the long ball. We have not seen him pick up his stolen base game just yet. Sammy Sosa hit one today, his 38th of the year, put the Cubs ahead of the Mets at Wrigley Field. Going to the count. And it is 3-2 to Clayton.
It's interesting watching Thompson when he gets on top, John. He throws a good sinker, but other times he seems to let his arm go underneath. Those are the 2 high fastballs he's thrown in this at bat. His arm gets underneath the ball instead of getting on top of it.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Clayton. The third, Kenny Castillo, straight on, and there is one away.
And let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. Colbrum is first base. Abbott is his second. They're in there because of the left-hander, but Nefi Perez is doing a great job at shortstop. I mean, he hit for the cycle yesterday's ball game. He's just been swinging the bat really well lately.
One down, Brian Jordan, and Jordan's name has been coming up mostly in trade rumors here lately, and he will be a free agent at the end of the year. Jordan hitting .327 for the year. That is a called strike. 5th in the league in batting average at the start of the day. And Jordan also has 17 homers, 64 batted in. Still an excellent outfielder. He missed a good part of last year. Close to last year. With a bad back. Larry Walker. And 2 men are gone. And now Mark McGwire strides to the plate. We'll pick up the introduction of him here, the reaction of the crowd. This is becoming commonplace, Joe. A very warm welcome for Big Mac.
Well, and that again shows the difference between his chase and Roger Maris's chase.
Many rooting for Maris. Big rip at that one. 0-1.
It was a pretty good pitch in that he got it in just enough. If that ball's about 4 inches more out over the plate, he would probably be trotting.
After 104 games in 61, Maris had 40. See McGwire with 43, playing his 104th here tonight. Slider misses low. By the way, when Maris had 40 after this same number of games, his teammate, the man hitting behind him, Mickey Mantle, also had 40. 0-2 to McGwire. That fastball is peeled foul back out of play.
Well, Thompson matches up pretty well with McGwire, John, and if he can get him to go for that sinker just low enough, he can keep him in the ballpark. But remember, McGwire's a great low ball hitter because he has that slight uppercut, so you better not get it above the knees.
0-2 the count. Slider. A tough pitch there. McGwire did well to lay off. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Everybody wanted to see McGwire go deep to be a part of history, and everybody trying to record the moment. It's a high fly ball at the shallow left field. Dante Bichette. So McGwire 0 for his last 16 without a hit since last Monday. Now the Rockies are coming up. No score after a half inning. This ball from Denver. And this has been the year of Don Baylor's discontent, as the Rockies have been a very underperforming ball club from what people expected. And Baylor and perhaps even general manager Bob Gebhardt are at risk of losing their jobs when the season is over. Here's the Pepsi Rockies batting order. Nefi Perez is in short. Ellis Burks in center. Larry Walker, last year's MVP, at right. but not nearly having the same season as he had a year ago. Dante Bichette in left field. He is having a big year, leading the league in hitting. Vinny Castilla, another big year, 33 homers. And look at that, 12 games, 7 home runs in that span. Greg Colburn at first base. Kurt Abbott at second, hitting 7. Kurt Manwaring is the catcher, and the pitcher, John Thompson, bats 9th. And on the mound for the Cardinals, veteran left-hander Kent Merker.
And Merker has really struggled lately, John. He has a good fastball, good slider, and a changeup, and he will throw an occasional curveball.
Nancy Perez, he is not your prototype as a leadoff man. He walks away and is promptly retired.
There you see the numbers for Merker: 134 hits and only 101 innings. And most people, 33 base on balls compared to 37 strikeouts. You want at least 2 strikeouts for every base on balls if you're going to be a quality pitcher. But he has great stuff. He just has not been able to put things together.
Now Ellis Burks used to be much more of a power pitcher than he is now. When with Atlanta, had one a called strike. That fastball clocked at 87 miles an hour, and he used to regularly be up over 90.
They had great location on that one, and I think that's what he needs to do here in Coors Field. Make sure you locate. Forget about trying to overpower, but locate your pitches.
1 ball, 1 strike. Burks hitting .296. He's had a real hot hand of late. Seen his average rise 20 points in the last several days. 16 homers, 54 batted in. His is another name that comes up in trade rumors.
Lay down.
In fact, as we understand it, the word is that any of the 3 Rocky outfielders could be had.
I know that. I mean, this game we have people who everybody's available almost, except McGuire probably.
2-1 the count. Nice pitch. Dante Bichette, a free agent at the end of the year. Burks, a free agent at the end of the year. Walker is somebody, again, you don't hear his name as much, but as we understand it, the Rockies will listen to offers for any of the 3. 2-2 the count to Burks. Outside for a ball. Full count now, 3-2. That was the Merker changeup. He's got a pretty good one. And he struck him out. Got Burks to chase one there.
And let's take a look at the Cardinals defense. On the left side, they're thinking of replacing both Clayton and Gaetti next season. Clayton, a free agent, and Gaetti, a free agent. And they're looking maybe to get younger at third base and get another shortstop in place of Royce Clayton. So probably a whole new left side for the Cardinals next year.
The winds of change swirling above each of these clubs. Larry Walker down the left field line. He's going to try for 2. Mabry's throw, not nearly in time. Larry Walker has his 35th double of the year.
And as I said about Walker, he's doing everything he did in the MVP season except hitting for the power. This is a high fastball. This is what gets Merker in trouble. See, this pitch is up. It was supposed to be away. It's up and over the middle of the plate. Walker fights it off the other way, and he has himself a double. Walker still runs well. He plays good defense. He gets on base. He's doing everything, but due to the surgery on his elbow over the winter, he has just not hit with the same power that he hit with last year.
He had 49 homers last year. Comes into play this evening with 11. Dante Bichette, the league's leading hitter. Walker, by the way, is number 2 in the league. And that's a strike in the inside corner with a good fastball. Landed his 0-1. Bichette, 16 homers and 87 runs batted in. And has always been the case, he is very much at home here in the Rocky Mountains. He is hitting .400 in his home games. Walker at second, 2 down. Goes back in there again. This time he does not get the call. It looked like Merker wanted that call.
One thing about pitching Bichette inside, he's very strong. He stays on the ball. You may break his bat, but he'll bloop it over the infield or fight you off the right field. If you watch, he doesn't have a big stride anymore. He just kind of fights the ball off when you come inside.
He goes back in there again.
Well, I guess they're telling him I want to pitch inside, huh?
How do you mean? Bichette has hit over 400 with men in scoring position this year. I mean, he's a real tough out in a spot like this. Tough out anyway. I mean, leads the league in hitting, but the chance to pick up an RBI, he has really been strong.
But the case with good hitters, I think after you throw 3 pitches inside, you better go someplace else, because he's such a good hitter. He will make the adjustment.
Well, wherever he goes, Joe, Dante is going to swing. Really. 2-1 the count. Broke his bat. He went back in there again. And Clayton throws him out, and that is the inning. Walker doubles, but he is stranded. Ray Lankford coming up after 1, no score. Everybody wants to know if Mark McGwire is going to be able to break the home run record. Well, we asked Tony La Russa what the keys are.
At the start of the season, I said to me the keys were him staying healthy, getting at bats. And I mean at bats where you're not walk, where you get to swing, and the team being good, because I know Mark. He's a clutch guy, he's a winning guy, and he'll rise to the occasion. Now, what's happened so far is, he's walked a lot of times, but he's had enough at bats to where he's definitely got a shot. But if we're not a healthy contending club the last 2 months, it'll be harder for him.
Ray Lankford on the first pitch grounds out to the second baseman Kurt Abbott, and that's an interesting thought, Joe. Some feel that it might be easier if they're not in contention.
Well, I agree that Mark McGwire is a clutch performer. He'd rather hit with men in scoring position when it means something, but the way that pitchers are pitching to him, they're not going to pitch to him in a tie ball game. So if they are contending and they are in a lot of close one-run ball games, he's not going to get those at bats he talks about. I've watched on several occasions where his team is losing 5-0 or 6-1. They pitch to him and he hits a home run. They would not have pitched to him in those ball games had it been a 1-1 tie. So it works both ways. I'm not sure, which is more important. But I think Mark McGwire's gotten to a point in the season with 43 home runs where he does have a chance, just going about it the way that they've been going so far this season, in that he doesn't have to walk fewer times than he's been walking ratio-wise. He can just do it with the at-bats that he's going to get.
Well, right now in the Central Division, they are 12.5 games out. The Astros were defeated today at San Diego. Suddenly the Cubs are right there. John Mabry with a count of 2-2 now. But even the wild card race finds them in a deep hole at the start of the day. They came in 9.5 out of the wild card race.
Man, he's throwing hard too.
Got the gas going here. Now let's get an update with Larry Beal.
Hey, John, MCI takes us to Los Angeles. Diamondbacks and Dodgers. Andy Bennis on the mound for Arizona. Matt Luke with a drive to straightaway center field. That ball is gone. His 9th of the year. 1-0 Dodgers, guys.
Mickey Hatcher was right, huh?
You and I get a feeling of pride about Matt Luke.
You're right.
We feel like we discovered him right here on Sunday Night Baseball.
And Mickey Hatcher gave us a tip, but we'd already discovered him, and he just kind of echoed our
He reinforced our sentiments. Gary Gaetti with a count of 0-1. John Thompson powering one past him. The Dodgers came into the day 5 behind the Cubs in the wild card. We think of him as the sinker ball guy, that hard movement, but he's having some great success blowing it by him up in the strike zone right now.
Yeah, but that sinker is still his best pitch, and it's causing them the problems. And then he lets the four-seamer go, and they're swinging at pitches up and out of the strike zone.
So, had seen it twice, so he laid off this one.
But he definitely needs that sinker, and he did have it. He pitched McGwire almost perfectly in the first inning, and he's been getting the ball down.
Slider. That was close.
The only question with Thompson is how long will he be able to maintain his stuff, because he has been on the disabled list, and they don't know how long he'll be able to throw and be effective.
That man certainly will be interested in that. Gary Gaetti, even at 40 years of age, pretty quick in that inside fastball right there.
He can still turn on the heater.
That one was clocked at 96 miles an hour. Well, Yastrzemski was this way when he got into his 40s. With Yastrzemski, in fact, there's almost the one pitch he still could hit was anybody's best fastball. That slider is dribbled. Thompson throws him out, and that ends the inning. 6 in a row retired, and Vinny Castilla with his 33 homers is coming up. No score. Sunday Night Baseball from the Rockies. I can almost hear that mountain stream, Joe. Here's Vinny Castilla, 323 average and 33 homers.
Ooh. Vinny Castilla's a first ball fastball hitter, and Merker threw him a first ball fastball. He usually puts that ball in play.
So Merker wasn't quite convinced. Vinny, 33 home runs, 94 driven in. Well, he threw another one. He's also a second ball fastball hitter.
One of the things that he has done, though, this year, John, is really improved on handling other pitches. And that's why he's hitting .323 this late in the season with the 33 home runs and 94 ribbies. You know, not a bad pitch. It was away a little bit. It wasn't exactly where Merker wanted it, but Castillo hits it back through the middle for a base hit.
Castillo has hit over 300 for each of the last 3 years before this season. 304, 304, and 309 going back. That one's into the hole at short. Clayton over to get it. Gets one there. Back to first, out of time. Pat Kelly's relay too late to double up Coleman, but quite a play by Royce Clayton to get to that one in the first place. This is a very fast, very quick infield.
And this is an exceptional fine play. Watch how he gets his body in front of it so that he can turn and throw. See, he gets in front of it, throws it to second, a good throw. Kelly comes across, tries to make it. That was interesting, and Castillo just kind of grabbed him on the knee there.
Here's Kurt Abbott. Kurt Abbott started the year with the Oakland Athletics. And he takes a ball up and away, having a lot of problems at shortstop with Oakland. Finally, they sent him here to Colorado. They were looking for a right-handed utility player, and he's played all over. He played the outfield and the infield for them.
And one time, the A's thought he was going to hit 20-plus home runs every year as a shortstop before they traded him to the Marlins and then got him back.
He did hit 17 home runs one year with the Marlins back in 1995, but then he lost his job to a guy named Edgar Renteria, and he just wasn't going to get it back.
No, and Renteria's hitting over 300 on that ball club. He's continued to improve every year.
For 300, Edgar's got 32 steals. The World Series hero besides. Clayton the second one, Kelly to first. Double play. That ends the inning. A 6-pitch inning for Kent Merker. No score after 2. Coming up next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 in the Rockies. The New York Yankees and Bernie Williams. He had a big day today at Yankee Stadium. The Yanks are now 73-26, and they take on the revitalized Seattle Mariners. Ken Griffey Jr. 3 steals today, Joe. He's got the running game going. There's a pop-up. He had his Joe Morgan game going today.
Wish I would have had his other game, the big fly game.
And you had plenty. Eli Marrero, the hitter. Randy Johnson, by the way, should be matched up with David Cone next Sunday. If they'll listen to us.
You're right. That would be a great matchup.
No swing, says Harry Wendelstadt. And the big unit had a couple of real strong outings after the break. 1 ball, 1 strike. Marrero hits it off his foot, a foul ball. The Yanks are 73-26 now.
That's awesome.
They had more than 55,000 at the big ballpark in the Bronx yesterday, as Reggie Jackson used to call it, for Old Timers Day. Although Reggie wasn't there.
I was going to say, he didn't show up, did he?
He didn't go. And then today they had 51,000. That slider off the outside for a ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Marrero. Merker, the pitcher, hitting 8th, is on deck. Kelly, the 9th place hitter, due up 3rd. In the air in the left center field, Dante Bichette, and Marrero is retired. Remember that name, though, Eli Marrero. They think he's going to be their catcher for a good long while to come. Got a very strong arm, quick release behind the plate, and they like him as a receiver. Now Kent Merker comes up again. Tony La Russa has been experimenting with his pitchers hitting 8th in the last couple of weeks to try and get, in effect, an extra leadoff man in there. And unlike last week when we saw them, Joe, in St. Louis, and you made the comment that for a second leadoff man, Tom Pagnozzi was pretty slow.
Yeah, well, he was going to clog up the bases rather than be a guy that could run and score in case Mark McGwire hit one in the gap.
Well, since then, he has moved Pat Kelly into that 9th spot, and he is more like it. I mean, he's a guy with excellent speed. Parker takes a strike. Two balls and a strike.
I think that works better, John, as a second leadoff man, a guy that can run a little bit. But remember, Tony said he was concerned a little bit about embarrassing some of his hitters, and so he was careful with that.
Well, meanwhile, maybe Thompson doesn't realize that this is the pitcher. Maybe he thinks the pitcher's up next. Just trying to pitch real carefully to that 8th place hitter. Merker with a big rip.
He's hacking.
Merker coming into this game with a batting average of 182, 6 singles, and 1 run batted in. That is a foul out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes to count. John Thompson on the mound for the Colorado Rockies. And Merker, his mound forward. And the Yanks won today, even though Albert Bell hit a home run against them. And Bernie Williams had 3/4 of the cycle. A single, a double, and a homer. He struck it out on a foul tip. Held by Manwaring, out number 2.
Well, this is the riding fastball we talked about, John, that goes along with his sinker. This fastball up in the strike zone and stays up. It doesn't sink. But he has a good sinking fastball to go along with this 4-seamer. So he's well equipped to be a good pitcher.
You're impressed with him.
Yeah, I am, very much so.
Start using terms like well-equipped. And this guy's just 1 step from Cooperstown. 0-1 the count to Pat Kelly. Kelly, who at one time looked like he might be the everyday second baseman for the Yankees for a long while, but really hit hard with injuries. Today is his 10th consecutive start. That is his longest streak of starting in consecutive games in 3 years. That's a lot of injuries.
That's a lot of injuries, especially for a little second baseman, a guy that plays that position. Normally, they're usually pretty healthy.
It's all those big, well-equipped guys who come in pounding on him at second base and those double play guys.
You have to be nimble to get out of their way.
Well, this John Thompson, I don't know about you, Joe, but he looks like he got a pretty good arm.
Yes, he does.
No score after 2.5. I think last of the 3rd inning. John Thompson has retired 9 consecutive Cardinals. We have had nary a big fly thus far. Here is Kurt Manwaring, right-handed hitter, and that's low for ball 1. Manwaring, then John Thompson, the pitcher, and Nafi Perez, the leadoff man. 0-0. The Rockies in their hottest streak of the year. They've won 5 in a row. And of course, that tells you what a disappointment they've been. A lot of teams say the Yankees, the Astros, the Braves, they wouldn't consider that all that hot. The Padres, 2-1 the count. And speaking of hot teams, the San Diego Padres won again today, beating Houston in a great game at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. They won even though Greg Vaughn did not hit a single home run. They keep telling me that he's carrying that ball club. Trevor Hoffman blew a save after 41 consecutive saves. They won despite that. Base hit for Manwaring. We got an update now from Larry Beal.
Thanks, John. The Yankee machine continues to roll on against the White Sox today. Bernie Williams, a missile down the line and right. It is gone. Yanks go on to win it 6-3.
Thanks, Larry. Hey, you see the Yankees now 73-26. Up there with the greatest 99 game records in the history of the game. Only the Pirates in R2 were better. That'll be a double play. That ball was clobbered by Thompson, but right to Royce Clayton.
Not only does Thompson pitch well, he swings the bat well, John. They put a hit and run on, and He hits a line drive right at the shortstop. If the second baseman, if the shortstop's covering, he might have gotten a base hit there. There you see Royce Clayton takes the line drive, and Kurt Manwaring no chance to get back to first base.
2 down, nobody on. Here is Nathan Perez. Tony La Russa always talked about putting on hit and runs, and there's factors about the runner's speed, the batter's ability to make contact, and the third variable is the pitcher's ability to keep a batter from making contact. And Tony has always said if he's got 2 of those 3 in his favor, he feels that's a good time to run a hit and run. Well, the worst nightmare, of course, even if you got everything in your favor, is that it hit a line drive right at somebody with that guy running.
So that shows how Tony is. He takes it, another couple of steps. I've always felt that there's only a couple of things. If the hitter could put the ball in play and the pitcher was around the plate, because I didn't care about the speed, because that's why you hit and run to help the guy on the bases to get the third. But that's Tony. I mean, he's a step ahead.
Well, Don Baylor agrees with you, because Kurt Manwaring, one of the slowest runners in history. You'll be challenging me to a foot race now. He's not that slow. I'm exaggerating. Nathan Perez fouls it back. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Like 3 or 4 guys this century have been slower.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, Nathan Perez yesterday hit for the cycle. I mean, Dante Bichette has done it, for the Rockies. They're the only 2 players that have done it for the Rockies. I mean, that's amazing. You don't see very many second basemen doing that. Or shortstops, for that matter.
What you see, like what, a lot of third basemen doing it?
No, outfielders. That's an outfield thing. Hitting a lot of triples with power, having power. See, usually if you have speed, you hit the triples and the doubles, but not the home runs. You hit the home runs on the infield. Your first baseman, third baseman, they don't run well. I mean, McGuire, he hasn't had a triple in 10 years.
Yeah, so he's
not
a cycle guy.
No.
Royce Clayton throws out. Nathan Perez. Well, did somebody mention McGuire? It'll be Clayton, then Jordan, and Big Mac. The National Home Run Watch continues. In San Francisco when they walked him, booing here when they walked him. He was asked about it.
Because you guys are building up this thing like it's going to be broken, and the fans want to. But you got to understand, this is a game of baseball. This is not an individual sport now. This is teams trying to win a ball game. I mean, if they have to walk a guy, if it's me or it's somebody else, the fans have to understand that. So you guys have to tell them that, because obviously they're listening to the media.
All right. So McGuire seems perplexed about the fact that the home fans are booing their own pitchers when they walk McGuire as he comes in as a visiting player. 1 ball and no strikes to Clayton. John Thompson, the pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike. He bluffed the bunt.
Well, his point there was what I was talking about earlier, is if it's a close game, they're not going to pitch to him, and they're trying to win a ball game. But if it's 6-0, they will pitch to him because he can't hit a 6-run homer. But that's the difference. And those are the things that he's going to face down the stretch. I think his biggest obstacle, John, is the fact that he doesn't just hit home runs. He hits 500-foot home runs, and that embarrasses the pitchers. And pitchers do not want to be embarrassed. They do not want to be seen on SportsCenter every night giving up a 500-foot home run. So that's one of the reasons I think he's going to walk even more than, say, someone else who was chasing a record, who was only hitting the ball 350 feet or 400 feet every time they hit a home run.
2-2 the count to Clayton. McGuire due up 3rd in the inning. But he wants you to tell everybody, Joe, the fact that it's a team game, and he's probably going to keep getting a lot of walks.
Well, he's definitely going to get a lot of walks. As long as he hits 500-foot home runs, he's going to get a lot of walks.
Well, tell everybody.
Well, that's what Griffey was alluding to last week. He said, hey, Griffey hits a home run, he only hits it 420 feet. No one gets upset. He said, but when McGuire hits one, it almost goes completely out of the stadium. The pitcher's embarrassed. I mean, and so they don't want to be embarrassed. They're going to try to do whatever they can to keep that from happening. And that means trying to make a perfect pitch. If they miss with it, so what?
2-2 the count to Clayton. Deep in the hole, long throw for Perez. Here it is, just in time. Nice play, strong arm.
Well, we had heard about Nathan Perez ever since he was drafted by Colorado that he was going to be a star. Now he has to back up and wait on this, and anytime you wait from shortstop, you better have a strong arm. See, he hurries a little bit. He doesn't take the step, but he's got a strong enough arm that he can string it across there. Nice play.
One down, and Brian Jordan up now. Flied out to right his first time. Nathan Perez did hit for the cycle yesterday. The second Rockies player to do it this year. Joe, my partner, seems to think that only outfielders do that.
Well, John Mabry did it for the Cardinals here also in '96.
He was a first baseman then.
Oh, I thought
That's a power position.
Yeah, it's a power position. These guys are power. I'm just looking at the middle infielders that do that. That's special.
Let's see. I saw Tony Phillips do it.
You did?
Yeah. There's a pop-up. Second baseman Abbott. And now McGuire coming up. 2 Baltimore Orioles have hit for the cycle in their history. Brooks Robinson and Cal Ripken. Third baseman and a shortstop. In fact, Joe, I don't think any outfielder's ever done it. Actually, I saw Fred Lynn do it. Saw Mike Greenwell do it.
Hey, that's a nice sign. Sammy's so-so, Griffey's iffy, but McGuire will set the mark.
Here he is, 43 home runs. And there goes number 44. It may not come back. Over the bleachers. Wow. Now that was a home run.
John, what's amazing to me is that the pitch that they got him out on and set him up with was a sinker. Now they throw him a curveball, and watch this. Look at that. It hangs right in the middle of the plate. His best pitch so far has been his sinker and his riding fastball, and he threw him a curveball and then hung in the middle of the plate, and McGuire puts a charge into it. Some kid may have caught that on the fly, John.
Ray Langford, base hit past Castilla. And Langford is quickly aboard. Well, Mark McGuire clearing the bleachers. It wasn't just that he cleared the bleachers. That ball, let's see, we're here in the Mile High City. That ball, I think, went another 1.5 miles up in the sky before it landed. Just a majestic shot here in the Rockies. And that is a level no Cardinal in the long history of the Cardinals has ever reached. No Cardinal has ever hit more than 43 home runs in a season.
And did you see that he did it in 372 at-bats, and of course Johnny Mize did it over the course of a whole season. That's another thing that kind of works against McGuire. I mean, he may not get 500 total at-bats this year, whereas, you know, 500 is usually just a normal season for most players.
Maris had 594 the year he hit 61. Ruth, when he hit 60, had 540 at-bats. 1 ball and no strikes to John Mabry, although Ruth only had a 154 game schedule. 2-0 to Mabry. Well, since the home run, Langford has drilled a single to left, and now it's 2-0 to Mabry.
I really think, you know, and that was a case of where the pitcher and the catcher really outsmarted themselves on McGuire, because, I mean, we've seen Thompson throwing the ball really well and the sinker being effective and the riding fastball being effective, and he tried to start him off with a curveball and he threw it right in the middle of the plate.
Well, McGuire had gone 17 at-bats between home runs and also snapped an 0 for 16. He had hit a single in his last at-bat on Monday. 0 for 16 since then. The home run today was measured at 452 feet.
That's not even in his top 10, is it?
No. He had 3 that have been measured at, and not measured, estimated at more than 500 feet.
Well, I think he shook Thompson up a little bit as well.
3-0 the count. That's a strike. 3-1. McGuire, I mean, 16 or 17 at-bats in a row without a home run. That's not very many.
It's nothing to most players anyway, but he averages, what is it, 7 point something this year.
And Mabry gets the walk. And Thompson has not been quite the same since McGuire launched one. 2 men on. With 2 men on, and Don Baylor's going to go out and talk to his young right-hander. Just what you were talking about, Joe. I mean, pitchers don't want to be the ones who give up these monumental home runs to McGuire. And he gave it up, and he had not allowed a base runner up to that point. He had retired 11 consecutive hitters since the start of the game, and now he can't get anybody out.
We'll take a look at this home run. See, there's the curveball, and you can see where it ends up, about belt high, and that's not the place to throw a curveball to Mark McGuire. He is not fooled at all. Actually, it's a little above the belt.
2 on, 2 out. Here is Gaetti. There goes Langford. He makes it easy. Mabry not running from first base. So Ray Langford gets his 11th steal of the year.
Well, Thompson gives one look, and then he comes to the plate, and Langford had been watching him, and he knew that he was just going to take one look, and once he looked, he took off.
1st and 3rd, 2 down. And that's back out of play by Gaetti. 0-2 the count to Gary Gaetti. Mark McGuire, his legend continues to grow. Did you know when he was in the American Legion, playing a game in a ballpark in L.A. County in the Summer League in the American Legion game, he had a home run that landed in the next count. Ooh, nice pickup by Castilla at 3rd. Gets the force out at 2nd. Beautiful play, and he robs the Cardinals of at least a run as he ends the inning with a spectacular play. McGuire gives him 1. Burks, Walker, and Bichette coming up. His home run, the only run of the game. We're at Coors Field in Denver. The Rockies coming up now with their power hitters, Ellis Burks, Larry Walker, and Dante Bichette. Coming up later tonight, another look at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which occurred today in Cooperstown, New York. 12:30 a.m. just past midnight on ESPN. That's Eastern Time. Don Sutton, Larry Doby, Lee McPhail, and Bullet Joe Rogan and George Davis all into the Hall of Fame. That's a base hit for Ellis Burks and a double. First pitch from Kent Mercker. Burks' 22nd double of the year.
High fastball from Mercker, and Burks goes the other way with it and rips it down the right field line. Good hitting there by Burks. But as you mentioned earlier, he has been hot, swinging the bat really well.
Here is Walker. He doubled down the left field line, his first time. This is where the Rockies have put a lot of runs on the board in a hurry, especially in this ballpark. Walker, then Bichette, then Castilla.
And last time up, he hit a double to left field, but he'll be up there trying to pull the ball in this situation.
Good fastball to the outside, and as you mentioned, Joe, it's not really a good pitch to pull, and he took it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Larry Walker is really, under the circumstances, really having another exceptional year, with the fact that he's just not as powerful as he was last year, power-wise.
Changeup. That misses down and in. 2-1. Over at third base, Gaetti shallow. The shortstop Clayton is right behind second base, as you can see.
Well, if they're going to throw him change-ups like he did there, then you can go ahead and play that way, but you also tell the hitter what you're going to do.
Another changeup.
You're telling the hitter, when you play it like that against a left-handed pitcher or against a left-handed hitter, you know that he's going to throw in breaking balls or something off speed. And here he comes with the changeup. You can see how he grips it. A little bit screwball effect on it there.
Burks at second, nobody out. 2-2 to Walker. Goes back with a fastball and misses outside. He wanted that pitch.
Well, with 2 strikes, Walker's not going to try to pull it. Now he just needs to try to drive the runner in and, put the ball in play. But I think Merker's using the fastball to set up the changeup. Wouldn't be surprised if he didn't throw him another changeup here.
Well, Clayton's standing on second base. He throws and he strikes him out with a changeup.
Yeah, he used the fastball there to set him up for the changeup, and I mean, he hadn't touched the changeup, so why would you throw him something else? So he had not touched this changeup, so he comes with another one, and Walker swings and misses. Pretty good pitch selection there from Merker. You know he hasn't hit the changeup. Why should I try to throw a fastball away again?
And did Clayton serve to distract Walker by racing over and standing on the bag as the pitch was thrown?
A lot of times that happens when you're a right-handed pitcher, but he's left-handed. He's throwing from the second base side, meaning the second baseman's side, so he wouldn't affect him in that situation.
Nice pickup by Gaetti. And Bichette is 0 for 2. So a leadoff double by Burks, but neither Walker nor Bichette could even so much as move Burks up a base. He's still out there at second with 2 down, but Vinny Castilla coming up. 48,000 paid attendance again here at Coors Field, something in that vicinity.
How many passes you lead? He said paid.
They always announce 50,000 in the ballpark.
Oh,
The paid attendance is always 48 something. I thought you were leaving those.
No, players passes and
into center field. That's going to be a base hit. Langford on the bounce, and he'll not make an attempt. Burks still runs pretty well, and it is tied up.
You know, this may look like Vinny Castillo didn't hit the ball well and he just blooped it into center field. But he just takes what Merker gives him, kind of flips it into center field. He doesn't overswing. He just takes this little changeup. So that's a changeup, and he just kind of flips it out there. See, he doesn't attack this like he's trying to hit a home run. See how he extends out there? That's a base hit swing more than a power swing, and he got the job done. And that's one of the reasons I said earlier that he has learned to adjust better to off-speed pitches and not just be a one-pitch fastball hitter as he was a couple of years ago.
Well, Castilla, one of the reasons why he's hitting .357 with Bennett's scoring position this year.
And we also talked about before how deep the outfielders have to play here. Although the Rockies have changed their defensive alignment, they play more, a little less, more shallow than other teams do.
We saw that when we were here a couple of weeks ago when the Giants played here. The Rockies have played, by their own admission, their best game of the year that night. And there were several outstanding plays in the outfield, many of them on would-be shallow base hits.
And they would have been base hits had they been playing in their normal positions. Talking to Don Baylor, he said that when they found out Bichette could go back on the ball as well as he could, they decided that they were never going to play deep again in this ballpark.
0-2 the count. Greg Colbran at the plate with Castilla at first. He's back to the bag. Two of the top home run hitters in baseball right alongside each other there. Castilla with 33, Wire with 44. Too high. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Colbran. And Baylor said there's so many more balls, and watching the All-Star game really made him make the final decision. All of those base hits in front of outfielders in the All-Star game. A lot more of those occur than the balls that get hit over the head of an outfielder. And he says usually, even if they make it over the head of an outfielder, it's going to be a double anyway.
Right.
So let's try to cut off some of those base hits. To see the Cardinals, Joe,
are playing deep because they're not accustomed to playing here on a daily basis. They just know it's a big ballpark, so they spread out and play deep.
A lot of room to cover out there.
And remember, it took the Rockies 6 years to come to that conclusion. They've been here for 6 years, so I mean,
Well, the outfield is deeper than most outfields, and so there's a lot more room to cover than in most outfields. And this is a great ballpark for triples as a result of that. Change up outside. 3-2 to Colbran. Batting with 2 down and a runner at first in the 4th inning. The Rockies have tied the game 1-1. Mark McGwire has hit his 44th home run of the year. Came in the first half of this inning. Struck him out looking. Fastball to the inside. The Rocks get a run. We're going to the 5th inning now. 1-1 from Denver.
How you doing, Sarge? Okay, folks, what'll it be?
What would you like, sweetheart?
A Pepsi, please.
Sorry, we only have Coke. Now you've done it.
You're sorry? Not half as sorry as you're gonna be. I ordered a Pepsi, pal.
She's got a mind of her own.
What's with this guy?
Look, I just thought...
You thought? What you really thought was that I don't know the difference between Pepsi and a Coke, right?
Here's your Pepsi.
Thank you.
Kids say the darndest things.
What are you looking at?
I like this place.
Tells us that he's going to go after McGuire with the good sinker and the good fastball probably next time up, rather than try to trick him with a breaking ball.
Thompson, that's about the only blemish in his performance up till now. First ball swinging, Marrero. Here's the throw, and in time, Kurt Abbott. Nice play. And there is one man gone in the Cardinal fifth. Here's an update with Larry Beal.
Hey, John, one other game going on tonight. Dodgers and Diamondbacks bottom of the third. The Dodgers erupt off of Andy Bennis. Eric Carra sends it high and deep and aloha over the Jackie Robinson portrait. His 12th of the year. It's 5-0 Dodgers. They're 5.5 back in the wild card chase. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Larry.
Larry said gentlemen, didn't he? I like that.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I like that.
Kent Merker tries to drag a bunt. And the count is 0-1. This is John Miller along with Mr. Joe Morgan.
Gentleman Joe.
Hey, you were at the in Cooperstown this weekend.
Yes, I was. Hanging out with my buddies.
And all of you and those fellow immortals. Now, Merker got a hold of one down the right field line, but hooked it foul. 0-2 the count. How are all the immortals up there?
Man, they're great. I'll tell you, it's you know, I walked in and into the library yesterday and I looked at Babe Ruth, I saw Lou Gehrig, I saw all these I mean, it's just great. It really is. Then I went over to make sure they hadn't taken mine down.
Still there, is it?
It's still there.
Joe takes nothing for granted.
Nothing for granted. You're right. Hey, I don't know to wake up and say, man, that was a dream. I was in the Hall of Fame or something.
Well, and a dream realized today for Larry Doby.
Right.
74 years of age, finally brought into the Hall of Fame, and he said he was just glad that he lived long enough to see this day happen. So he never would have, in his wildest dreams, 50 years ago, even imagined that this day ever would have come. The first African-American ever to cross the color line and into the American League just a few weeks after Jackie Robinson was the first in the history of Major League Baseball in the 20th century. And Larry Doby went through many of the same things that Jackie Robinson went through. Merker drives that one way back there. This one is up against the wall. Merker is going to keep going. He wants three. The relay. He's got three.
Well, maybe that's why he's hitting eighth tonight. I mean, he's been really turning the bat loose. He has not been cheated. He was swinging the bat well his first time up. Well, he gets a fastball and up and out over the plate, and he hits it to right center field. He knows that it's over their center fielder's head, and he just kind of stretches out, looks over, picks up the third base coach. I mean, that's excellent base running there by Merker.
Well, we know Merker had never hit a home run in the big leagues, and I guess they don't even feel like triples are even something we can even bother talking about. They don't list how many triples he's hit, Joe. I have a feeling it's not too many.
And here's a Don Baylor type play. He's playing the infield in with a runner at third and less than two. Don probably does this more often, especially early in the ball game, than most managers do.
Here is Pat Kelly. Now, Peter Pasquarelli has already discovered, Joe, that Merker has hit another triple. This is his second career triple.
John, see how close they're playing in on the infield? They should actually, you know, I think with a pitcher at third base, they should probably be, you know, the middle infielder should be 2 or 3 steps back. I mean, they can still charge the ball and throw the guy out at home.
0-1 the count to Pat Kelly. Last Sunday we saw La Russa put on a suicide squeeze in a spot similar to this.
Right. See how close they are? I mean, anything hit on the ground is going to go through here. I mean, you just open up too many holes because you limit your range. But if you move back, you know, a couple of steps, you can always charge the ball, come in, and then you can get, say, a pitcher or a slower runner coming from third base. But when you play that shallow, you really do not have any range. And if the ball's not hit right at you, you're not going to field it.
Slider misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kent Mercker hit a triple last August against San Diego. And now he's done it again.
Well, I know one thing. He's happy that Royce Clayton has taken a few pitches over there so he can get his breath. You know,
I mean, to run that hard
right
at this altitude
and then have to go on the first pitch would have been tough.
1-2 the count. Sinker missing, down and in. 2-2. Royce Clayton is on deck. And Matt Morris, who pitched here yesterday, commented about the altitude, saying, "Hey, you get out of breath here in a hurry." 2-2 the count. Struck him out. He's gotten Kelly twice.
I mean, that's a good pitch that sinks down and in under the hands. That was not so much a poor swing by Kelly, but just a good pitch. Watch this pitch. Watch the movement. Look at that ball, really tailed down and in. That was a lot of action on that pitch.
So Kelly unable to get Mercker in. Now Royce Clayton will come up. He has grounded a third, grounded a short. Congratulations to Larry Doby into the Hall of Fame today. Don Sutton. That's a base hit. So Clayton does deliver, and Mercker comes in to score. Thankfully for him, he can just trot into the plate. It is 2-1. The Cardinals back ahead.
And a good job by Clayton, and you know, getting a lot of 2-out base hits. Got one there for the Cardinals. As you mentioned, Don Sutton and Lee McPhail and Bullet Joe Rogan, Sam Lacey, our good friend from Washington.
Sam still drives to work every day in Baltimore, Washington area. 94 years of age, won the Ford C. Frick Award for his pioneering work in baseball journalism. He chronicled the
Great Experiment,
as they called it. Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby, first black players into the major leagues. There is Yoshi Perez to Abbott at second, forcing on Clayton, and that keeps McGuire from coming up. Brian Jordan gets into the force play. 2-1 though. The Cardinals back ahead. Cardinals 2, Rockies 1 as we go to the last of the 5th inning in Denver. Mark McGuire hit number 44 in the 4th inning.
And let's take a look at it. That's the bat track. You see that uppercut he has in his swing.
First ball swinging, Kurt Abbott, and he is promptly retired by Pat Kelly, 1 away.
And that was a new record for bat track. He had a 98-mile-an-hour swing. Let's take a look at this swing. There's see the uppercut that he has in his swing, that slight uppercut. But that's why he hits so many balls in the air, and that's why he's able to hit so many home runs. But 98-mile-an-hour swing right there. Big Mac.
He was kind of had his back straight, as you often point out on those side views of the swing.
Yeah, he's.
Sometimes you'll see him take that big cut, and he'll be kind of leaning back.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good hitter. I mean, the guy he's not just a home run hitter. And I think that's the thing that amazes me in the last few years, John, is in the past you'd have guys hit 35, 40 home runs. They may hit 260, 270. I mean, that was the norm. Now you have players, the Griffeys, the McGuires, the Albert Bell, all these guys hit well over 300, and they still hit 40, 50 home runs. I mean, that's amazing to me. Only the Babe did stuff like that, you know, and Mays and those kind of players. Here are the fastest bat tracks we've had so far. Mark McGuire tops them out at 98. See Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Albert Bell, and Gary Sheffield. That's some pretty good hitters right there. Pretty good bat speeds.
Kurt Manwaring, the hitter. McGuire will be leading off in the 6th inning. The next inning, the Cardinals come back up. 1 out, nobody on. Last of the 5th inning. Kent Mercker to Kurt Manwaring. Fastball misses, full count. Pitcher John Thompson is on deck. In the dirt, he walks him. And now Thompson. Speaking of Griffey, we'll see Griffey next week.
The Swift Griffey right now, right?
Yeah,
the base stealing Griffey.
3 steals today in Baltimore, and for good measure, A-Rod stole twice.
They're both base stealing, long ball hitting players.
Neither one of them hit a home run today in Baltimore, and the Mariners scored 10 runs against the Orioles, 110-4 at Camden Yards. And we'll see them next Sunday at the Kingdome as they take on the Yankees. And is there a dramatic comeback in the Mariners' future? They're now 8.5 out. I mean, at the All-Star break, I think we all thought they were dead.
Well, we know they're capable, John, of coming back. They came back from 13 down the last month against the Angels. You're better on years than I am.
1995.
1995.
Yeah. That's why I was whispering it to you.
Okay. That's all right. I'll give you credit.
95, Joe. Well, at the All-Star break, the Mariners were 13 games out this year. And now 8.5 out. And who knows? Randy Johnson has not been unit-like for much of this season, but he certainly is well capable. That's a foul ball on the bunt by Thompson. Well capable of going out there and winning 10 in a row, or doing the kinds of things that he has often done in the past. Jeff Fassero is in a hot streak now. He won yesterday. Jamie Moyer is pitching probably even better than he pitched last year when he won 17. Moyer won today. And the bullpen is Mike Timlin now acting as the closer, and he's done a pretty good job here lately. We'll see them next Sunday against the Yankees. McGuire feeding it off to Pat Kelly. Manwaring moves over to second base. 2 down. Don't forget now, later tonight and twice a night on weeknights, baseball tonight. They give you the complete picture of what's going on in baseball, all of the highlights, all of the analysis, and it will follow SportsCenter tonight as well, right here on ESPN, your baseball source. I mean, everybody in baseball watches, that's for sure. Peter Pasquarelli is always digging, always calling the GMs, always getting that inside background information, Joe. He knows at 10 Eastern, or again midnight Eastern, don't even think about calling a GM, because they're watching baseball tonight at that point. 0-1 to Nathan Perez. Giants made a big trade this week. They had 2 big trades. They made a trade with Baltimore to get Joe Carter, and a 5-player trade with the Cleveland Indians. And Steve Reed had a great year. The former Rocky goes to Cleveland, and Jose Mesa, one of the players that the Giants acquired. Jose Mesa struck out the side today for the Giants in the 10th inning against Cincinnati. Got the win. We know that because we were reviewing baseball tonight before the game today. Nathan Perez had the big day yesterday. Dante Bichette did it earlier this year. Hitting for the cycle. The last hit he needed was a homer. He got it. Now he needs a base hit to try and get Manwaring home. 2 down. The changeup. Man, he's really fooling him with that pitch.
He has a very good changeup because his arm speed doesn't change, and that is the key to the changeup. As long as your arm speed looks the same as it does on the fastball, your changeup will always be effective.
Manwaring, the runner at second. Not a very fast runner, but the outfielders are all playing very deep. We're talking about the people who went into the Hall of Fame today.
George Davis went.
George Davis, Bullet Joe Rogan. Bullet Joe Rogan was a pitcher and outfielder for the Kansas City Monarchs, the old, as they were called, Negro Leagues. I mentioned Sam Lacey. In his speech today, he said, "Let me thank everyone, as they do in the Academy Awards. Everybody, from great-grandmothers to the pet canary."
That's Sam.
Also, the longtime voz de los Dodgers en español, Jaime Jarrín, was inducted today. I mean, he'd been there with the Dodgers in L.A. almost as long as Vin Scully. And he came with the Dodgers from Brooklyn. Perez, it's a soaring pop-up. He hit that one about as high as McGuire. just about 400 feet less in distance. Did I mention McGuire? He's coming up, Joe. Don't go anywhere. It's just a 400 homers and on down the list. And when we say fastest, we mean an actual number of at-bats in a career. Fastest to 40 home runs. I mean, he hits them at such an amazing pace. He got him on a one-hopper to Nathy Perez, and McGuire is gone just like that.
Well, that's what Fred Funk said. I want you to go right after him. And that wasn't the best of pitches. Frank Funk. That wasn't the best of pitches. This is a fastball. This one is not. It's a sinker, so he gets on top of it, but you don't want to mess around too much up there with McGuire. You want to be higher than that. You don't want to be around the middle of the belt. You want to be up and in if you're going to throw the pitch above the belt.
Now Ray Lankford is grounded to second and single. He's 1 for 2. Those things about most homers by the end of a month, I think I'm not into those because they start the season so much earlier now than they used to. Obviously, guys are going to have the most homers by the end of certain months because they played 10 or 15 more games than they did, say, 30 years ago or 40 years ago by the end of April and May. Because they're still going to play 162. They might have played 15 more by the end of May than maybe Maris did, but they're still going to play 162 in the end. So McGuire, suffice it to say, is hitting home runs at a pace faster than any player in history. The Babe, nobody has ever hit him at the pace that he is hitting them, not just this year, but the last 4 years. Lankford 1 for 2. That's out of play. McGuire now in the last 4 seasons, this being the 4th, has hit 193 homers. Only one player in history has hit more homers than that in a 4-year period. He just passed Ralph Kiner, who was one of the great sluggers in the history of the game. He's passed Harmon Killebrew. Only the Babe, 1927 through 30. And he had 209 homers. Surpassed what McGuire has done the last 4 years. McGuire needs 17 more to pass the Babe for that best 4-year record. Which, of course, if he gets 17 more, will also be 61 for this season. Lankford hitting the slider in the air. Left fielder Bichette. 2 men gone. 2-1. The Cardinals are leading in the 6th inning. Cardinals go home after this. McGuire has been holding a press conference before the first game in each city on road trips here lately. Try and cut down the numbers of obligations for him because everybody wants to interview him. Trying to get everybody at once with the press conference. But he also has been a little bit short with some people. I mean, he's answered the same questions thousands and thousands of times. But I think, Joe, that he seems to feel now that the media, as he calls it, calls those.
No, he's talking about you.
I thought he meant you.
No. He's talking about you.
He calls Chris Berman and Peter Gannon.
Yeah, those guys. I'm not the media.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. More media-fied than anybody I've ever met. John Mabry, the hitter. Base hit. Mabry 1 for 2 with a walk in this game. Hit number 5 for the Cardinals. They're in the 6th inning. Gary Gaetti will be next, but McGuire feels now that the media has sort of preordained that he's going to break the record. And he said, if I don't, what are they going to say then? That I had a bad year?
Well, I certainly hope not, but I understand what he's talking about. Because it's not a foregone conclusion that he is going to get the other 17 that he needs. Well, 18, technically.
He needs 17 to tie Maris. And 17 by the 154th game to beat what the Babe did in 1927. 1 hit, 1 left. The power coming up. Burks, Walker, and Dante Bichette. It's 2-1 St. Louis. 2-1. Their starting pitcher Kent Merker, who legged out a triple in the 5th inning. This was the scene between innings, as he had some involuntary motor activity with his left hand there.
And I think it all started with this, John. I mean, we talked about how high the air is here and how tough it is to breathe sometimes. And he ran legged out a triple. Not only that, he's been throwing on the mound, and this was him leaving the ball game.
Curtis King has replaced him, and we hope that Kent Merck is okay. It occasionally will happen here that at this altitude that even the best conditioned athletes, track and field stars, will feel the effects of the altitude. And Kent Mercker, he did go out and pitch the last of the 5th inning, but then as you saw during the 6th inning, he was having problems. We'll hope to get a report as to his status, and we'll pass it along to you as soon as we know more about it. Curtis King has come on to pitch. Wednesday night baseball, the doubleheader. Well, the red-hot San Diego Padres at Shea Stadium to take on the wild card contending New York Mets at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. So a lot of great stars and great pennant race action. Wednesday night baseball doubleheader. Ellis Burks led off the 4th with a double. He's 1 for 2. Scored the Rockies' only run. Curtis King, 27-year-old right-hander out of Philadelphia Textile College. And he was born, see if you recognize this name, Joe, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
I've heard of that place.
He throws out Ellis Burks. Got a good sinker. Now Larry Walker will come up. Twilight time here in the Rockies. They had some ferocious storms here last night and also the night before. They had a 2-hour and 47-minute rain delay here.
And you had to bring that up.
Friday night. What, if I bring it up, that's bad luck? Ted Williams told you that? Ooh, tough pitch. Good slider down and in. 0-2 the count to Walker, who has doubled and struck out. Well, Walker this time last year, Joe's hit 390.
Yeah, but that was a healthy Larry Walker, and you know we're not. You don't need to make any excuses for him because he's still playing very well and he's having a good season for most people. But due to the injury to his elbow, he just doesn't have the same pop in his bat. He doesn't have the same power he had last year.
Yeah. He does have 35 doubles, which is pretty good.
Those are leg doubles. He runs so well. That's what I say. He's doing everything he did last year to win the MVP, except hit for the power.
Well, he didn't do that.
Well, he probably did. If you look back, sometime last year he did strike out on bad pitches every once in a while.
Late August, I saw one game.
Okay, yeah, because every once in a while you will do that.
2 down.
Well, this is a curveball, a breaking ball that, well, no, it's a changeup. That's another changeup, John. They've been having success with Larry with the changeup tonight, and he chases that one in the dirt.
Struck him out twice in a row on changeups. Merker got it in the 4th inning with one. Here is Dante Bichette, who has grounded a short and grounded a third. And uncharacteristically for Dante, not only is he 0 for 2, but he had a man in scoring position each time he grounded out. Picking those guys up with great regularity. 1 ball, 1 strike. The thing that's incredible about Dante, he has had 433 at bats, and he's had 10 walks. Ozzie Guillen school of hitting, apparently.
Or at least he's played winter ball in San Pedro de Macorís, huh? Where they say you do not take any walks over there.
2-1 the count to Bichette. Sammy Sosa has been taking a lot more walks this year. Much more selective at the plate, takes his walks, hitting over 320. I mean, it's really been fun to watch Sammy Sosa blossoming into one of the great stars in the game.
Well, you're right, and he's such a friendly guy, and I mean, I'm happy for him.
Lined that one hard, but maybe too hard, right to Mabry. The Rockies, for the first time, go down in order. Strong first inning for Curtis King. We're going to the 7th inning, 2-1 Cardinals. In this ball game, for the 44th time this year, Mark McGwire, who began his big league career back in 1986 with the Oakland Athletics, coming out of the University of Southern California. He was the 10th man chosen in the draft back in '84 by the Athletics out of USC. Eli Marrero, the hitter here, against John Thompson, and he takes ball one. Curtis King is out on deck. The Cardinal pitcher had Kelly due up third in the inning. Marrero is 0 for 2. Drives one high in the air down the left field line. Shit. Running out of room in the corner, and it is in amongst the spectators. A ball and a strike to Marrero. McGwire converted from a pitcher to a full-time hitter while he was at SC. The first 2 years at SC, he pitched, and then finally his third year there, they put him at first base full-time, and he had 32 home runs. And suddenly people said, man, this guy is a prospect. That slider's in there for a strike. He was drafted out of high school by the Montreal Expos and offered so little money that even though he wanted to go pro, instead of playing in college, he went to college. The Expos drafted him as a pitcher. One away, Marrero is gone. Well, there he is back in USC as a pitcher. 82 and 83. Wasn't known as big back then. And they weren't commenting about McGwire and the Babe in the same breath, or McGwire and Maris.
Well, Babe was a great pitcher as well, so until they converted him.
And that's where Babe is different from all the other great hitters in history. He was also a great pitcher. He had the record for shutout innings consecutively in the World Series, and he put together some big seasons as a pitcher with the Boston Red Sox. McGwire pitched in 28 games while at SC. Modest record. It's back out of play. And at first base, I think the numbers sort of told the story there, Joe, with McGwire. Somebody said, look at those numbers. We better get this guy in the lineup.
And the funny thing is, can you imagine him swinging an aluminum bat?
Did they use aluminum all the way back then?
Probably so.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
82, 83?
Yeah.
Well, he did not have a big hard transition going to the wooden bat. That's my assessment. Nathan Perez throws out Merker. But you know, rather he throws out King. I have still written Merker in my scorecard and not yet written King yet. King retired. I don't care about him. I'm talking about McGwire right now. Whoever grounded out the shortstop.
Well, see, that's why Mac was on you guys, the media. He's saying that's all you talk about is him. You don't talk about his team or his teammates. So that's what he was talking about. You guys like you that are on him just saying McGwire's the whole show.
Here's another one of his teammates getting hit. Two more guys need to reach base to get McGwire up. Well, and that's ridiculous. I deny it. Matt Kelly with a solid single to left center. That brings up leadoff man Royce Clayton with Jordan on deck and McGwire in the hole. 2-1. The Cardinals are leading in the 7th inning. Clayton drove in the run that put the Cardinals ahead. The single in the 5th inning, and it came in the clutch with 2 outs. The hole. This is going to be a tough play for Perez. He snaps it over there, and he pulled the Colbran off the bag. Or Colbran came off the bag, one way or the other.
That's better. I don't think he pulled him off. He may have thought it was going to be a closer play, and he tried to cheat, and he got caught because the throw wasn't that bad. We'll see how they score that. Definitely shouldn't be an error on the shortstop. This is a tough play. He was going to go to second base, but he wasn't in position to do so. So now he takes an extra step. He throws across the diamond, and you'll see that the throw is right there. He just kind of pulled. Well, it's a very close play. But Harry Wendell stepped right on top of it. Well, I'm going to go with what Harry said because Harry's been around a long time.
Well, all the views we had, I mean, Harry still was the one who was right there. I mean, I think he probably had a better view than any of the views we just showed. Don Baylor going out. He's had Curtis Leskonic warming up in his bullpen, and he has called for him here. So John Thompson, pretty good return to the big leagues, coming back from the disabled list. Retires trailing 2-1 with 2 men on. Brian Jordan coming up.
Row, and I mean, he did some great things, but he was never really, I guess, accepted, as a great player.
And of course, Maris played his final years in the big leagues with the St. Louis Cardinals. The club, the McGuire, is going after the Roger Maris record 4. The new pitcher is Curtis Leskonic. Now, of course, McGuire's had this thing about the media blowing things out of proportion here with their chase of the record. McGuire's on deck. And if Jordan doesn't get on base here, we won't get to see McGuire. 2 men on. Kelly at second. Clayton at first. They charged an error to Greg Colbran.
Actually, it was a close play. I mean, could have given him a base hit.
Into right field. Walker going way back there. Still going back at the wall. He's under it now, and he makes the catch. McGuire will have to lead it off in the 8th inning. Close for Jordan. 2-1. Leading the Rockies. And Colorado brings its leading home run hitter to the plate. Vinny Castilla. Twice he has singled. Once driving in a run. First ball swinging. Hit it hard, but right to the third baseman, Gaetti. And there is 1 away. Back in 1986, Mark McGuire went up to the big leagues in August.
He's got big arms. He looks awfully strong.
2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call is walked out the outside corner.
Here we see the pitch. A little slider on the outside part of the plate. That's a nasty pitch. Better learn to foul that off or hit it, kid, or you'll be back in Tacoma.
I don't know who the announcer was, but man, he was a little tough. But the thing that amazed me, he said, look how big his arms are. They could see him today. They're twice as big now as they were in that photograph. He has grown. He was just a kid then.
Todd Helton is the pinch hitter for Greg Colbran here. Helton, the young first baseman, the heir apparent to, in fact, now the heir to Andres Galarraga's heroics at first base here in Denver. And Helton hitting .289, having a pretty good year. 17 homers, 55 driven in.
He's actually done very well, John, under the circumstances.
Not an easy place to go in. 2 down. Well, a few days after that first at bat, McGuire hit his first home run. Chet Lemon went all the way back, and his first home run was to the deepest part of any ballpark. That was at Tiger Stadium, 440 feet to straightaway center field.
I would have liked to have heard what the announcer called on that.
His first home run against Walt Terrell of the Tigers back in '86, August the 24th. He had 3 home runs that first year, but in 53 at bats, he hit only 189. Nobody was predicting that he would set an all-time home run record for a rookie the next year, which is, of course, what he did. And by the way, that first home run was actually later in the same game of that, not a few days later, a few days after he was brought up from the minor leagues by the Athletics. But later in the same game, after he'd been called out on strikes, he hit his first major league home run. And now here we are, 430 home runs later. His homer tonight was number 431. Kurt Abbott flies out. Curtis King has retired 6 in a row. And don't go anywhere. McGuire is coming up. A left-hander, Chuck McElroy, has come in from the Cardinals bullpen with McGuire, the right-handed hitter, followed by the lefties Langford and Mabry.
And there you see Chuck McElroy. He's done a great job for the Rockies this year. He's only allowed the 1 home run to Ben Grieve of Oakland.
Todd Helton stays in to play first base after pinch hitting for Colbran.
It'll be interesting to see how McElroy attacks McGuire, because I don't know if he can throw the high fastball up and in. And anything down kind of works into McGuire's favor, whether it be a breaking ball down or a sinker down, unless he can get him to go out of the strike zone.
2-1, the Cardinals ahead. McGuire drove in the first run of the night with a 452-foot home run that cleared the bleachers in straightaway left field. Right over the outside edge, strike one call. Why don't I feel confident here? In terms of the Rockies' ability to get him out. Nice pitch.
Well, 2 90-mile-an-hour fastballs, one on the outside edge, one with a little sink on it.
McElroy has allowed 1 home run this year in 48 innings pitched.
He came right after him. I mean, that one got the middle of the plate. But because he had 2 strikes, he's waiting just a little longer, and that pitch got on him a little bit.
2 strikes the count. And he popped him up. Shallow right. Third Abbott. And McGuire is gone.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We talked about the fact he gets walked a lot, but the Rockies have come right after him the entire ball game. And good pitching there by McElroy. He gets 2 strikes on him. Looks like a cut fastball right there, maybe a little slider. And he got it in on McGuire.
I mean, he may have gotten away with something there because the catcher, Manwaring, was set up on the outside.
Well, again, a lot has to do with their count. I mean, that were 2 strikes on McGuire. So, you know, he's waiting just a little longer, and that's why he probably hit the ball to right field. He's waiting just a little bit longer to recognize the pitch.
Now, we don't see the Cardinals every day, but I'd like to know who was the last manager who brought in a left-hander to face McGuire.
In a 2-1 ball game or a close ball game. You're right. Well, I know Billy Wagner tried with Houston.
Yeah. Billy Wagner was throwing 97 miles an hour, and McGuire hit with 530 feet. Well, as McGuire took that last swing, the people all around the ballpark were trying to record that moment.
And some of them were lucky enough to flash him when he hit his home run back in the 4th inning.
0-1 the count to Langford.
I had mine flashing, but didn't show up on the screen.
You take your camera up there to Cooperstown?
No, but I hire a photographer to follow me around. Hey, get me with Stan the Man over here.
Hey, Whitey. Yeah. Over here, buddy.
Over here, yeah. Ted Williams and I, we're talking hitting here. Just take a picture.
Yeah.
We're talking hitting.
Me and the Splinter.
Yeah.
1-2 the count. And Langford takes one in the dirt. 2-2.
I have to tell you a quick story, though. I was sitting with Bob Gibson and Bill White the other night, and they were teammates when the Cardinals, won the championship. Bill White got traded, and first time Bill White got a base hit, next time Bob Gibson hit it.
And Abbott could not come up with it, so Langford is safe.
But Bob Gibson said it wasn't that cut and dried, John. He said Bill White kept leaning out over the plate, pulling ball foul and everything, and he just tried to go inside, and Bill was going back out there again, and he hit him on the arm. And Bill yelled at him. Bill said, told him he's crazy.
All these years, he was accusing him of hitting him intentionally.
Yeah.
And he was just trying to go inside.
He said, I was just going inside. He wasn't trying to hit him. Bill thinks he was trying to hit him.
An error charge to Kurt Abbott.
No, they scored well, they've got 2 errors up there. But they got 2 errors up there now, though.
Well, we're looking into it still. Apparently they scored it a hit, and the scoreboard just on its own.
Oh, it's a hit.
The scoreboard on its own put up error. But they're not official, Joe. John Mabry, the hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. So I don't know how they can give an error on that last ball and score this one a hit. Do you?
No.
They give Colburn an error.
And that was a tough chance.
Could have been a great play by Perez. And this one should have been played called a hit. John Mabry has struck out, walked, and singled. And he gets this one. Here's one. Carries back to first. So Chuck McElroy getting it done. The Rockies running out of outs. Last of the 8th inning, they trailed 2-1. The trading deadline next Friday night, July the 31st. So Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Cardinals, here tonight. There's a swing and a miss by Kurt Manwaring. Cardinals still have to decide, Joe. Are they going to trade to reinforce themselves? I mean, it's hard to believe that they will at this point. I mean, they're way behind in both their division and in the wild card. Or are they going to try to bolster themselves with some prospects for the future? They've got both Brian Jordan and Todd Stottlemyre, whose names have come up quite often in trade rumors. They both can be free agents at the end of the year. And there were several other teams, as we mentioned earlier. The Rockies have their whole outfield that apparently they'll listen to offers for.
I think there will be some movement. You know, some teams are going to try to bolster their lineups for the pennant race. There's Jerry McMorris. He's the chairman and CEO of the Rockies.
Called a strike to Manwaring. 3-2. John Vanderwall is on deck. There's Bob Gebhardt, the man who would be making the trades. If you're a GM and you have some needs, call him. He's not on the phone right now. Base hit to left field. Now let's get an update, and here's Larry Beal.
All right, John, earlier today, battle of division leaders. Houston and San Diego, top of the 10th, tied at 4. Men on at first and second. Andy Sheets driving home Ruben Rivera. Good night, game over, drive home safely. Padres win 5-4. Earlier in the game, Trevor Hoffman blew his first save of the season. Padres win, though, 5-4.
Yeah, Moises Alou took him deep. Pinch runner Curtis Goodwin has come on. And now Chuck McElroy, with the runner on, is going to bat for himself. John Vanderwall had been out on deck, but now McElroy will try and bunt him over. And Goodwin also has excellent speed. He could try to steal a base. Now La Russa comes out, and he's going to make a double switch, it appears. We got Lance Painter, a left-hander, up in his bullpen, and Willie McGee is heading out into left field with John Mabry retiring. Painter coming on. 2-1 Cardinals. Last of the 8th. We'll be back. Left-handed Lance Painter, the only left-hander in Tony La Russa's bullpen, comes on now. And the batter will be Chuck McElroy. It's interesting, Joe, because Vanderwall was out on deck, but there was never even a chance for him to get into the game, because immediately after the base hit by Manwaring, Vanderwall was pulled back and McElroy sent up there to bat for himself. 2 weeks ago when we were here for the Giants-Rockies game, Baylor did the same thing with McElroy, and he got the bunt down. So it must be an excellent bunter. There's Goodwin, the possible tying run at first base. Nobody out in the 8th inning. Pops it in the air, but nobody's there. Wow. Goodwin had to hold on to make sure nobody caught it, and he still made it into second base. The man can bunt. I'm not sure that's what he intended to do, but it certainly worked out well.
No, but that's what happens when you're in a winning streak, John. You know, they've won 5 in a row, and if they were losing, this ball would be caught and maybe even double someone off. But see, it's right between the pitcher Painter and Gaetti, who is charging, and by the time Painter picks it up, it's a base hit. But those things, when you're going well, that happens for you. But if you're struggling, it's a double play.
Now Nafi Perez hit for the cycle here yesterday, but he's 0 for 3 tonight, and he could well be trying to lay down a bunt right now. Goodwin has excellent speed, the lead runner at second base, and McGuire will have to tag him out. The runners have been advanced. Goodwin to third. McElroy to second on the sacrifice by Perez.
Actually, yesterday, Nafee was bunting as a, sacrificing, and he beat out a base hit. That was the single he had yesterday. This ball, too, is popped in the air, but McGuire cannot get to it in time to make the catch in the air. So now they have runners at second and third.
Now Mike Lansing is going to go over to second base and run for McElroy. There's Lansing. He represents the possible go-ahead run. The possible tying run at third in the person of Goodwin. The possible go-ahead run at second in the pinch runner. Lansing. Ellis Burks coming up. And here comes Dave Duncan, La Russa's pitching coach, out to the mound, and he has signaled to the bullpen for his closer. And that is Rich Croushore, the young right-hander who throws real hard. Runners at second and third. 2-1. The Cardinals are leading. Big moments coming up as Croushore comes in. And Sammy Sosa's big year continues, as does Big Max. It's now McGuire 44, Griffey 40, Sosa 38, Greg Vaughn 37 for the home run watch. And here's Rich Croushore, who has become the closer for the Cardinals with the arm problems of Jeff Bradley, who was supposed to have that job. Rick Croushore has had 6 saves, and Joe, 5 of them he has pitched 1 and a third innings or more. So it's not unusual for him to come on before the 9th inning. The possible tying run, Goodwin at third base. The possible go-ahead run, Lansing at second base. And Ellis Burks, who's been a real hot hitter at the plate. 1 for 3 tonight, 297 for the year. He has particularly worn out the Cardinals this year.
Well, the Cardinals are going to play in on the corners. First and third would come home.
Ball 1. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. There you see how they're playing it, as Joe mentioned, pulled in at the corners. But they don't want a ball to get through if they can help it, because that would mean both runs would score.
So they're playing back in the middle of the diamond to cut off the ground ball.
And Burks, a little over anxious perhaps, chasing that high heater. 1 ball and 1 strike. Larry Walker is on deck. Only 1 out in the inning. Burks, 297 overall, even better with men in scoring position. He's got 2 of them out there right now. Don Baylor lifting his pitcher McElroy as a runner only after McElroy had gotten to second. There's Lansing. He's the pinch runner. Good fastball to the inside corner. Strike 2 call.
Well, he swung at one out of the strike zone the first pitch, and then he takes a good fastball. Looks like it's pretty much over the middle of the plate.
Croushore has about a strikeout per inning this year, and he struck him out.
Big strikeout right there.
I mean, he didn't finesse him. He came right after him with the hard stuff.
Well, let's take a look at the pitches. He got behind. Now he chases one up and out of the strike zone, takes one for a strike, and this is just an overpowering fastball just above the belt. Good pitch there from Croushore.
So he got 1, but there's another big one to go. He is the MVP in the National League, was last year. Larry Walker has doubled and twice struck out. Ball 1. There's a right-handed hitter on deck, Dante Bichette.
But he's the league's leading hitter, and he has hit better than anyone with runners in scoring position.
Fans start to chant Larry. 2-0. In the bullpen, Dave Veers heating up. Ground ball to the right side or up the middle to get the, I beg your pardon, now 2 down. He's got to get the base hit. Burks had that situation.
Right.
And there's a changeup, which has been used to good effect on Walker. in his previous 2 at-bats.
And John, as a hitter, some days you hit the off-speed stuff better than you do the fastball, and other days you're right on the fastball. And today, Larry Walker so far has had problems with the changeup.
Fastball. And hot. The throw just in time. Good play by Clayton. And the Rockies do not score. We go to the 9th inning. Gary Gaetti coming up. 2-1 St. Louis. This kind of a home run hitter just has never happened.
Very few organizations have had this kind of home run hitter. I mean, McGuire ranks with the best ever.
McGuire tonight with a home run. It was a solo. He bunts it, but foul. But 27 of his 44 home runs have been hit with men on base this year. About 63% of his home runs. 27 homers with somebody on base. That's the most since 1970, when one of your friends, Hammer and Hank Aaron, hit 30 homers with men on base. Johnny Bench that same year. It was the year that Bench hit 45. Tony Perez hit 40 on that club. Johnny Bench hit 27 of them that year with men on base, just as McGuire has done up to this point. McGee, Willie, who has just lost one. Larry Walker is trying to give him the deke, but Willie McGee launches one up in amongst the spectators, and that is his 2nd home run of this weekend. He had hit only 1 home run the whole year coming in here. Now he's hit 2 at Coors Field in the same weekend.
Well, John, it's even stranger is that he tried to bunt with 2 outs and couldn't get it down, and then he hits a home run. If you're the Rockies, you say that is bad luck. High fastball, and he put a charge into it. I just think Larry Walker lost it in the sky, and he just didn't know where it was. He knew that he hit it well, and he just lost it.
Remember, he did the same exact thing when we were here, and Barry Bonds hit one out into right center, and Walker stood there as if he were going to catch it. And the ball sailed over the wall in right center. That's what they used to do at Fenway in front of the big wall in left field.
And the great Roberto Clemente used to do that at Old Forbes Field in the short right field fence. They had a short screen out there.
3-1 Cardinals.
He had a cannon to throw with. I don't think he sees it. He's throwing his hands up. He
right.
says, I don't see it. I don't know where it is. And he said, oh. The fans started clamoring for it up there, and then he knew where it was.
Or I guess he was just deking us that he lost it.
No, we're actually, if you look at the sky now, I mean, the ball goes up now. The lights have not taken hold, and it's right at twilight.
Todd Helton came over after that one. Yeah, but I think that replay pretty well said it. Walker just, as your first thought was, I mean, he lost it, as did McGee. McGee lost it into the crowd. Veers with the splitter, strikes out Pat Kelly. Kelly 1 for 4. The Cardinals get a little bit of insurance here, 3-1. Last of the night, Dante Bichette, then Vinny Castilla, just in case. Jeff Brantley is now heating up in the Cardinal bullpen. 3 tough hitters in a row coming up here for the Rockies. Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla, and Todd Helton. There is Brantley, the veteran closer. It was just 2 years ago that he led the National League in saves. He had arm problems last year, had some surgery. And he's exasperated this year because he said from one outing to the next, he doesn't know himself what he's going to take to the mound. One game is just like the old days. He's throwing 94. Frank says sometimes it's better than the old days. He's throwing harder than he used to. And then other days he goes out there and he thinks he's got great stuff, and he can't get it up there faster than 86 or 87.
Well, I think you got to give La Russa a lot of credit for inserting Willie McGee into the lineup. That extra run makes a big difference in this ball game. When you have to go through Bichette, Castilla, and Helton, if you only had a 1-run lead. He has some margin for error now.
Well, he brought Croushore into the game. Actually, I think when he brought Painter into the game before that, he brought McGee in as part of a double switch, enabling McGee to get up there and hit that home run.
Well, that's double switches, things, something you do in the National League and not in the American League.
Dante Bichette 0 for 3 in this game. High, deep, and foul. Up against the twilight. Back into the second deck out there.
We talked about the Cardinals not playing shallow like the Rockies have been. I mean, they're awfully deep here now.
Yeah. McGee is playing back in Boulder. He left town already. Struck him out. Chased a high, hard one. One away.
But he's throwing well. I mean, the ball's really moving. He's got a lot of movement on his fastball. And anytime he gets the ball up, I mean, you're just overmatched.
Because this guy will turn 28 years old in August. I mean, he's been around a while. Out of James Madison University. He's been pitching professionally since 1993. And most of the way through, his numbers were not very impressive in the minor leagues. But he is very impressive here in the big leagues. Croushore, in his 23rd game as a big leaguer, now has pitched 36 innings and has 36 strikeouts and only 12 walks.
And they keep swinging at that high fastball. He seems to.
Vinny Castilla right back to the mound. 2 down. 2 down in the 9th inning. Mark McGwire tonight. It is 44th back in the 4th. And man, did he hit it over the bleachers. 452 feet was the estimate. He's got 58 games left after tonight, and he needs 18 homers in the last 58 games to establish a home run record, to best Maris's record by 1. And he needs 17 homers in the next 50 games to beat Ruth's record, which was set at 154 games. I mean, if he's going for the records, let's have him get them all and once here. Todd Helton, the hitter, 3-0 the count. McGee with his 3rd home run of the year, failing as a bunter and then going deep.
That's what's amazing. With 2 outs, he tried to drop down a bunt, fouled it, and then he hit it out of the ballpark.
Now Jeff Reed, the catcher, will come up as Helton gets the walk, and Reed is the possible tying run of the game. He has 7 home runs this year.
And they're playing back behind Helton at first base. There you see McGwire way behind him at first base.
Too low. Of course, this being Coors Field after all. The game is never quite over, especially with just a 2-run lead. And Dave Duncan goes out to talk to Croushore after that last pitch. Right after the game, stay tuned for Sports Center with Dan Patrick and Kenny Mayne. The U.S. Senior Open completed today. Tragedy at the U.S. 500, and a conversation with Alex Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners, whom we will see next Sunday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, from the Kingdome, along with Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams. The red-hot Yankees will be in Seattle next Sunday. Helton at first, 2 down. Reed the hitter. Fastball in there. There's something about that first pitch that seemed to concern Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, though.
Yeah, well, I think they didn't feel like he just turned the ball loose. It looked like he was maybe aiming and trying to hit spots.
John Vander Wal out on deck to hit for the pitcher if Reed can keep the game going. 2 down. 2-1. Cardinal bullpen has worked 3 2/3 innings in relief of Merker, allowing no runs and only 2 hits. Cardinals have not had that kind of relief at times this year. They have blown more games. They led after 8 innings this year than in any other year in the last 10 years. Cardinals lost 6 games this year that they led after 8 innings. Actually, the most in any season since 1986. But Croushore has attempted to stop that. He's done a good job at it. 3-1, the Cardinals ahead, 9th inning, 2 down. Down the right field line, but foul. Caught by a fan down there, brought his glove.
And he makes the young fella happy. John, I'm a little surprised because Mark McGwire is playing so far behind Helton at first base. I would have to send him. I mean, there's no way anybody could throw him out. I mean, McGwire's not even close to him. I mean, look how deep McGwire is at first base. I mean,
so they couldn't get a force out at second if he stole it.
Right. Plus, you get yourself in the scoring position.
Get a run on a base hit.
Right. I mean, you just stay out of the force play is the main thing, but I just would not let someone play that deep like that, because that, you know, sets the defense completely against you.
No worries about a line drive double play. No. 2 men gone.
Yeah. But a ball deep in the hole, they'll have a force play at second.
2-2 to Reed. 2 down, 9th inning. 3 at 2. Vanderwall, the left-handed hitter, is on deck.
Well, he retired the first 2 hitters rather quickly, and now he has struggled with 2 left-handers.
There he goes. Right to the second baseman. And Kelly throws him out. And the Cardinals have won it. The Rockies' 5-game winning streak comes to an end.
Well, it was great to see Big Mac attack one. He got a breaking ball and hit it out of the ballpark. And actually, it was just a very fine ball game. I think everyone, and you have to give Thompson credit. He pitched very well for the Rockies. Maybe they'll be able to help them down the stretch.
So good pitching for the Rockies, and just as we predicted, Joe, a pitcher's duel here at Coors Field. Yeah, not. Merker the winner, Thompson the loser, Croushore with a save. Big Mac hit number 44. He needs 18 more in the last 58 games for the record. Next Sunday, we'll greet you from the Kingdome. Ken Griffey Jr., who's sitting on 40, takes on the New York Yankees. We hope you'll join us then. SportsCenter coming up next. Stay tuned for that. John Miller for Joe Morgan. Good night from Denver. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.